Welcome to lesson 9.3, volume of prisms and cylinders. Now, I'll give you two guesses to what this is about. Nope, that's not what this lesson's about. Try again. Yes, it's about the volume of prisms and cylinders. You did it. So to do this lesson, we should probably understand what volume means. And the volume, by definition, is the amount of space an object occupies. So when I ask for the volume is just asking, how much stuff could I fit into this cylinder? How much stuff goes inside of it? Or how much stuff could I fit inside this prism? All right, it's how much space these objects occupy, right? And that's important to know because if I said like, well, how much water is in that pool? That would be a volume question. Okay, one more vocabulary word we should probably know is what a base is. And the bases of a cylinder are the two circles on the top and the bottom. All right, those are our bases. The bases are the top and the bottom of the cylinder, and they're circular. Now, another thing you should know is that bases are always parallel to each other. Bases are always parallel because you'll see here that this base is parallel to this base. Now, the same thing for a prism. You'll see that this is a base on top, and we also have another base on bottom, and these two bases are parallel to each other. It's the top and bottom, and they are parallel to each other. So those are the bases, and it's important to know that because we're going to be talking, it's going to be part of those formulas. So the bases on a cylinder, the circles on the top and the bottom, prism, you'll see it's this rectangle on the top and the bottom. All right, so let's start with this. How do you find the volume of a prism? The way you find the volume of a prism, you use this formula. Volume is equal to base times height. Now the base means specifically the area of the base, all right? And it's important that you calculate the full area of the base. And the height is just how high it is, all right? Base times height. So to find the volume of this rectangular prism that we have here, there's 4 steps to doing it, all right? And this will get you the right answer every time. So if I wanted to find the volume here, what I'm first going to do is draw and label the base. So if you see here, I have my base right here. See my base? Now that's a rectangle, so I'm just going to draw it again. And you'll see why this is helpful. So I'm going to draw my rectangular base. This side over here is 8. See, the smaller side is 8. And this side over here is 12. All right, and then I'm going to find the area of this base because I need the area for the formula. So 8 times 12 is 96. All right, so now that I got my area, I'm also going to state the height. Height is right here. It's the up and down, and that is my height. So now that I've got my base, and now that I've got my height, I'm just going to plug into my formula. Volume equals base times height. My base is 96, my height is 6, and I just do this on my calculator. Volume equals 96 times 6, 96 times 6. I'm doing it right here, and I get 576. Now it's important that you always keep the units, all right? So if you'll see here, it's in meters, and since it's three-dimensional, it's meters cubed. Very important that you use cubed here because it's 3 dimensions. All right, so it's 576 meters cubed. Let's try this for a cylinder now. All right, now the formula for finding the volume of a cylinder is exactly the same. The volume is equal to the base times the height. Base once again means the area of the base. All right, and h is the height of the cylinder. So it's the same 4 steps. So if I want to find the volume of this cylinder right here, once again, I'm going to start by drawing and labeling the base. So let's draw the base, which is a circle. Remember, our base is a circle right over here. Okay, these are our bases. So I have a circular base, and I have a radius of 4. Okay. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to put in the base, which means the area. So to find the area of this circle, it's pi r squared, right? Since it's a circle. So our base is going to be equal to pi times 4 squared. And so our base is 4 squared is 16. 16 pi. And that is the area of our base. Now I'm not going to multiply by pi to keep this a little cleaner. We'll save that to the end. Our height is right over here, and that is 9. So we have our height and we have our base. So now we just plug into our formula. So volume is equal to base times height. Our base is 16 pi, and our height is 9. So you might remember this from 9.1. We're going to answer this in two ways. We're going to answer this in terms of pi, which means we don't multiply by pi, and also as a decimal to the nearest hundredth. So first, to do this by pi, all we're going to do in terms of pi is just multiply 16 times 9, okay? And you get 144, and then we just add a pi to the back of it. That's in terms of pi. Nothing else needed there. To do it in terms of pi, we now have to multiply by pi. So let's multiply this by pi, and sorry, I'm doing this on the calculator myself. 144 times pi equals 452.389, and since I'm rounding up, it's going to be 39. Now we can't forget our units. This is in inches, so this is inches to the third. Remember, it's three-dimensional, so it's to the third power, and this is also to the third. All right. Now we're going to just do one more problem today, and I'm going to teach you a testing strategy that's going to help you on the SATs, Regents, anything that you has in multiple choice questions. All right. The testing strategy we're going to use is plug in the answer choices. And I know you might say to yourself, well, I think I understand what I'm doing. You're going to just plug in the answer choices. That's true. But I don't think students do as much as they should, because there's a lot of times that I've seen students who could do it, but they didn't. So I want to directly make a strategy here. It's called plugging in answer choices. And we're going to use that to solve this question. Let's read the question. A right circular cylinder has a volume of 1,000 cubic inches and a height of 8 inches. What is the radius of the cylinder to the nearest tenth of an inch? Now, this is an interesting question because it's giving us the volume and it's giving us the height, but it's not giving us the radius, which is kind of like backwards for us. So how are we going to do this? We basically have to solve backwards here. Well, I'll show you. We're going to plug in the answer choices. But first we have to do a little bit of work. First we have to recall what the volume of a cylinder formula is, and that is volume is equal to base times height. All right? Now, we have to fill in something for V, B, and H. All right? We have to define these variables. Well, the volume is given to us as 1,000. Okay? The base, well, we don't know that because it's not given to us and we don't know the radius. And the height is given to us as 8. So we got to fill something in for our base. Now, I'll tell you, you don't just plug in these numbers because this is the radius, but base is always the area of the base, right? It's not just the radius. So what are we going to fill in here? And I'll show you. We need to first draw our cylinder, all right? And we remember that the base, we draw out the base so we can find the area of the base. Now, the radius is what we're looking for. It says, what is the radius? So we're actually going to put an x here because we don't know the radius. So base is equal to pi r squared. And so here, our base is just equal to pi x squared, which we'll put in for our b, x squared. So now we're just going to plug in each of these answer choices to see which one gives us the closest to 1,000. All right, we're going to plug in each of these radiuses and see which one gives us closest to 1,000. So let's start with 6.3. All right, so for our 6.3, we're going to do pi times 6.3 squared times 8. All right, let me rewrite that to make it a little cleaner. So our first answer choice, we're going to plug in for x, and that's pi times 6.3 squared times 8. All right, so I'm going to just put this in my calculator. Let's see if this gets us something close to 1,000. So it's 8 times pi times 6.3 squared. This gives me 997.5. 997.5, and that's pretty close to 1,000. All right, but maybe 11.2 is a little closer. So let's try this next one. So it's pi times, remember 11.2 is our radius, so it's 11.2 squared times 8. All right, we're just going to put that in the calculator. So it's pi times 11.2 squared times 8. And that got me something much bigger. I got 3152.7. And that's way too high already. So you know what? Out. So as these get bigger, you'll see that the answers get farther and farther and farther what you need. This is the closest one to 1,000. That is our answer. All right, so that's a powerful strategy that we're going to be working on. It's called plug in the answer choices. It's really going to help you on standardized tests. And you know what? You'll like it. All right, guys, don't pick your nose and eat your boogers because your wife will get mad at you. Trust me. Peace.